Global pandemic of COVID-19 has fundamentally affected nearly every area of life, including education, and Philippines has not been an exception. COVID-19 episode are experiencing issues finishing on the web work without their teachers' in-person direction. I am Grisel Jane Teolayan, your presenter for today, and we will help you to talk about one of the articles I read about our situation today that affects our education, especially the teachers. So the title of the article that we are going to talk about is about the experiences and challenges faced of the public school teachers amidst the COVID-19 pandemic, a phenomenological study in the Philippines by Robosa, Niña Ercie, Lhyza Perante, Trizhia Alvez, and Jhoselle Tus. Let's proceed now to the introduction. The enormous changes ever, humanity was stunned when COVID-19 ejected. Countless positive is persistently racing. The clash of humankind against the COVID-19 started in Wuhan, China in December 2019. Philippines could be a high-risk nation from the coronavirus outbreak. It's inducing a substantial degree of fear, worry, and stress. The prevalence of COVID-19 is indiscriminate in life. No one can forestall this infection. Regardless of whether you're rich or helpless, it can move toward you. The immediate transition and improved sophistication of today's world existing challenges and establish new demands on our education system. Department of Education generates plenty of problems for students and teachers. But because of the government's sign to pursue the school year 2020-2021, the teachers who considers the second mother of a student was having a tough time addressing the new normal founded. Simultaneously, the shortage of apparatus and materials supports at the start of the category whether or not we Filipinos can handle this new test in our lives. With this, plenty of scholars and even teachers experience stress and burnout while sailing amid the pandemic. Thus, the present study aimed to describe the lived experiences of public school teachers amidst the pandemic. Specifically, the study sought to answer the following questions. First, what are the lived experiences of public school teachers amidst this pandemic? Second, what are the challenging experiences of public school teachers amidst the pandemic? And lastly, what are the coping mechanisms of public school teachers amidst the pandemic? According to a study-based report, teachers in the new normal would have to employ new practices and forms of management, both professionally and emotionally, to adapt to the virus outbreak changes fully. The report provided a structured timeline for response management, such as guidance, utilizing technology, and forming digital recreational activities. So the method that the researchers used is an IPA, or they employed interpretative phenomenological analysis that aims to give definite assessments, delivers a record of lived experiences, and intensive examination. So, the participants of this study consisted of public school teachers that was currently working in the public school of the study regardless of their demography. 10 participants willing to be the participants and qualified as an interviewee. So the study used an interview guide to facilitate the productive and efficient gathering of responses. The questions from the interview guide have embraced content approval to test its reliability. So for the procedure, in many conditions, it is significant to establish a connection between the researchers and the participants. Next one is to making assistance to the participants in regards to circumstances, terminology, and artistic context. Next is to encourage to raise any clarifications, concerns, and unclear questions due to the technical interruption that may arise. Next one is a thorough transcription and analysis were conducted. And the last one is the exact verbatim of each participant to avoid uncertainties of the data collection contents. So for the results, the following sections will present the analysis of data gathered after following an intricate procedure. Based on the data collected, the following themes were identified in this study, namely lived experiences, second is the challenges, and coping. Indeed, teaching is more than a job to every teacher. According to the participants, education allows them to do things with heart and dedication. Likewise, the following sub-themes were identified from the data gathering and which are based on their own perspectives. As shown in the table 1, the following sub-themes include passion, relationship building, and fulfilled duty. For passion, there are 6 teachers who responded with this sub-theme. So according to the participants, one aspect of teaching that they enjoyed the most was finding interest in their students' eyes and the smile on their faces whenever they were teaching. It became their source of motivation and drove them to continue their passion for teaching. Relationship building. According to the participants, students spend most of their time in school with this. They serve as the second parent of their students. And lastly is fulfilled duty. Another sub-theme identified in this study is, according to them, more than the teaching their students, another reason for their happiness was whenever they saw their students earned an accomplishment outside the four corners of the room. The next one is this subordinate theme discussed the struggles encountered by the participants. Likewise, the following sub-themes were identified from the data gathering and which are based on their own perspectives. As shown in Table 2, the following sub-themes include lack of resources, handling students, and submission and workload. Lack of resources, according to the 6 participants, the public school system, such as lack of necessary equipment, brought hardship to the school's key indicators, specifically teachers and students. For handling students, aside from the number of students, another problem encountered by the participants was getting the trust of their students and making them realize the importance of education. And lastly is the submission and workload. These findings supported the study conducted by Aperiby, which used an online survey to collect quantitative and qualitative data necessary to explore how teachers have been affected by the lockdown, specifically its impact on their mental health and their relationships in 3 main fields of work, family, and social relationships, and identify the role of physical activities among these 3. The results revealed in the study included that the teachers had experienced higher level of distress due to the workload generated during the lockdown. The next one is the coping mechanism of the teachers. This subordinate theme shows the coping mechanisms of teachers to handle stress and burnout. Table number 3 contains subordinate themes perceived in the interview. The study shows that 7 participants utilized the right communication and understanding, whether towards their students or with the parents. There are 4 of the teachers who are being strategic in ways to cope up with the problems. Furthermore, 3 participants employ adjustment and consideration, and 1 participant felt comfortable asking for assistance. For the conclusion, the study emphasized the optimistic sides of public school teachers, which is rarely studied, especially during pandemic. This study perceived the coping mechanisms and strategies of teachers. The researchers have interviewed 10 public school teachers. The following conclusions are met based on the study findings. First is most teachers are significantly challenged by lack of resources, handling the submission of workloads that contribute stress and burnouts. Second is the occurrence of the digital age limited most public school teachers. They hardly perform specific tasks for the students virtually, provide an effective learning environment, and communicate with students, given the resources and inadequate. Third is the public school teachers cope resorting to the right communication and understanding in their circumstances. Lastly is the teachers gain positive experience despite stress and burnout. This includes their passion, relationship builds, and the fulfillment of their duty. Furthermore, the researchers recommended that the government must provide assistance and funds in education. It's not only for the private schools but also for the public schools that cannot provide enough resources for the teachers and students, such as schools with limited internet connection or data, and schools that lack modules, technologies, and gadgets in this new learning system. This assistance or fund will allow teachers and students to have an effective learning system despite pandemic. This will give positivity to public schools that they will not be left behind. Teachers must be supportive and dedicated to the teaching the students despite the difficulty in proximity and communication. This will help form and maintain healthy relationships that promotes perseverance, significance, and optimism in the learning environment. Students must have active participation with their teachers. This may help to build proper communication and understanding and to establish a sense of liaison. Consequently, future researchers can use these findings to support their potential investigation, mainly in public school teachers' live experiences during a pandemic. So that's all, and thank you for listening. I hope you have learned something and you've enjoyed this short presentation. Keep safe and God bless.